Hey, welcome back to day 3 of these videos anyway. Um, Again, don't know if we'll do them every day, but happen to have something to chat about, if nothing else, because of the new game consoles. And it was interesting, I think, to find that they still both intend to launch their systems, I'm sorry, Microsoft and Sony, I should say, in the fall of this year. And, they're having, they're playing chicken more or less. I, I personally don't see it happening. There's reports of Sony's expense or cost for manufacturing the product being higher, not directly from their actions, but because of sourcing um, components and the whole issues with the supply chain and getting it out to people. And I think there was talk of limiting it to, I think it's still a worldwide rollout, but having a smaller quantity available for purchase. And Microsoft hasn't said too much on it, but it seems like Sony is kind of waiting to see what they will do. I'm guessing, obviously, because they do not want to give their competitor the jump on that next gen system. Because if Sony says, well, you know what, we're going to hold off, and Microsoft launches, or vice versa, then you feel like you're handing a massive advantage to your competitor, even if you can't put that many products on shelves. It can actually be a good thing, right? There's a lot of discussion around whether or not Nintendo artificially constrains their supply chain to kind of build hype. Oh, you can't get the Wii, you know, or the Switch, right? It's great free advertising. And so if you kind of sit it out, stop banging the table. I apologize. There's not constant earthquakes where I live. You would not know this. There's not tremors monsters, graboids or ass blasters about to eat me or anything. I just cannot keep my hands off the table. But back to the point. Um, so they can't do that, right? So I think I don't see both launching this year. I don't think they're going to be able to. I guess maybe they. I guess I could be wrong in that they roll it out with sort of weaker launch and just go with that. Whatever they can, they do. And maybe it is more expensive up front to make up for that. And they could take a loss, but I think if what they're trying to say is, hey, we don't want our console, our competitor in the console market, and Nintendo doesn't really count, to have that advantage. We're going to launch with whatever we got. I could see that. And also, you want to hit the holiday window. At the same time, hmm, yeah, it's interesting. And, you know, I don't even know how much I'm interested in a new console right now, which actually is a Microsoft Game Pass, right? That's part of it. I'm looking at that and saying, I'd rather spend more money and get a computer upgrade than buy the new Xbox X series. And I've that said, I've never owned an Xbox console. I've done the PlayStation since the original. Actually, I bought it used off my piece of trash father when I was a teenager. But and since then, I've owned every PlayStation console. I don't really consider myself a giant Sony fan, but Microsoft just didn't have the games in general that I wanted to buy another console, and Sony always offered things I was more interested in. And I'm sitting looking at these new consoles and saying, well, I've got my 1080p plasma. I'd love to upgrade, but I don't have a 4K TV right now. Do I want to invest in the PS5? Do I want to invest in the X series? And I think the answer is no. But Microsoft could win me over because of the approach they're taking with Game Pass. Get that PC, which I could use anyway for other purposes, grab Game Pass, and all set. Or the fact they're releasing their games on the PC so I can purchase them there. There's not a lot of Sony exclusives I'm chomping at the bit for. I'm interested in Ghost of Tsushima. I'm interested in The Last of Us 2, but even though I love the story in Last of Us, I just don't find myself really excited, if that makes sense, for what comes next. I don't know. That's where I'm at. But, and with Microsoft, maybe that's what they do. Maybe even if they don't launch, or they launch their console, and that's why they're staying more silent on the topic because they've got a broader play. They're taking a much bigger picture view. Microsoft has definitely turned things around, and I think Sony is in trouble because their whole thing is, look, we want people to play our games, and that's going to, and we're going to do it however we need to. Um, that's going to, I think, make me dip into that Xbox Microsoft ecosystem and look at purchasing games where I haven't before and get involved in those brands and get invested in those franchises. Go and play um, the Halo series, which I've played multiplayer here and there, but I haven't played the core campaigns and do that with my friends. And now you start making me, even if not a fan, someone who has something of a connection to their series. And now Sony, why am I going to go spend the money on their console? I'll just play these Xbox games. And I could see that falling by the wayside, especially with the streaming computers now. I know GeForce has been, I think it's GeForce, right? Or the NVIDIA streaming service. I know that's had its problems, but I think that is going to be the future eventually. Look at Stadia, too, for example. I have not had a great experience because I guess my connection where I happen to play games most of the time is not that great on the computer, and so I could see Microsoft, they're making some long-term plays, and Sony's I'm not hearing much from them that's going to turn that around. So I think they're in trouble personally. I don't know if they see it. It seems like they're taking it more seriously than the cocky attitude they had with the you know PS3, which caused them a whole lot of problems at launch. It ended up selling well in the end, but I think this could really bite them in the ass and see Microsoft, if not get a leg up, certainly make up that ground to where it's not Sony dominating the market anymore, potentially. We'll see. I know I've never been particularly interested in the Xbox and Microsoft. I never really felt like I missed out, but because of what they're doing with Game Pass and the approach they're taking towards treating their customers like they're not just walking wallets, um, I like it. So frankly, I like the way they do business better than Nintendo. You've heard me rant about them, probably heard me anyway. So anyway, that's enough on that for now. I think when we have more details and anything I want to chat about, or you, none of you at the moment, but that you watching this sometime in the future. I don't know why you'd want to talk about this now in the future, unless you point out how I'm an idiot, and then feel free. Trust me, it's something I'm used to. Yeah. So that's going to be all for today. I wish everyone well. Stay safe.